Hey everyone, this is Tim Souza with Real Estate en Route, and I am so excited to be here in Brandon, Manitoba with Glen Tosh. Glen, thank you for having me in this listing of yours today.
Oh, you're very welcome. Honored to be asked.
Yeah, so Glen and I just kind of been getting to know each other. He works between here in Brandon, and he actually lives in a small town called, can you remind me what it was called again?
Sioux. It's half an hour from Brandon.
Yeah, half an hour from Brandon. So this is his zone of expertise, and so we're here to learn a little bit about what's happening in Brandon and what's going on in the market. What kinds of homes are being built in this community, etc. So I'm super excited. But first, I think I'm gonna let Glen talk about how long you've been in real estate. What is kind of your story when it comes to being in this industry?
Okay. I joined Royal LePage, Martin Liberty Realty in 2008. Started there in Brandon and Sioux. At first I was going to just sell in my hometown of Sioux, and then realized with it being a small community, needed to branch out to Brandon to make more sales, obviously. And since then, in 2011, I became a partner with Royal LePage, Martin Liberty, and have been there since then. And then last year became the managing partner when our managing partner stepped down.
Cool. And so you've been working the Brandon market for how many years then?
For 11 years I've been in the business, yeah.
Cool.
10 years in Brandon, 11 years in total.
That's awesome. So how have you seen this community, I guess, shift and change over that 11 years?
You know, Brandon's been a pretty steady marketplace. We've been, we haven't seen the highs and lows you've seen in other parts.
Okay.
We've been steady growth, like 1%, 2%, 3% a year, and not the spikes and the downs. So it's been good in that way. Lots of new development in Brandon. In the area we're in right now is still under construction, and then the biggest change probably in the Brandon marketplace is the condo market.
Okay.
There's been lots of condos, apartment style, townhouse style, slabs. That's been a big change in here.
New builds,
yeah.
And that's interesting because earlier this morning when I was in Portage, they were saying something similar. That like they have their first kind of foyer into condos being built in that community, which I think is fascinating because it's not. How many people are in Brandon?
Brandon's about 50 to 55,000 people.
50 to 55,000. So I mean, obviously Portage is a much smaller community.
Yeah.
But the fact that these other communities outside of a center like Winnipeg is having a growth in a condo market.
Yeah, and in Brandon you've seen it kind of started with the townhouse style, and then the slab style, and then there's been 3 or 4 apartment style ones built too, which is they've had a little slower uptake than the other ones, but the townhouse style have sold repeatedly over and over again.
Interesting. So how many units do you think are in Brandon now then?
That's a good question.
Ballpark it.
Yeah, it would probably be around 500 units probably in Brandon.
Oh wow. Okay. So it is kind of growing quickly.
Yeah.
That's cool. And so so you've been in real estate for about a decade, or just over a decade then. What is your kind of year over year, how many homes do you sell per year expertise-wise?
I'm around between 45 and 55 homes a year, or units a year, like buys and sells. And that's split pretty evenly between listings and sales, yeah.
Interesting. And so then what's the market like then? So how many homes do you think turn over, how many units per year?
The market's been, like I say, it's pretty steady. In Brandon specifically, the 250 to 350,000 price range is kind of the hot spot.
Okay.
That's
Is that the median, or is that the?
The average price in Brandon is 280.
Okay.
So like a 3-bedroom bungalow, single attached garage, built in the 70s, probably in that 300 to 310 range.
Okay.
And that's where probably 50% of our sales are.
Is in that
250 to 350 range.
And what's a high end in this community?
The top houses to sell this year, there's been 3 sales over 800.
Okay.
And then 600 to 800 there's been some. And then there's lots, quite a bit between 400 to 600,000.
Okay.
And that market's been tighter for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's been slower and tighter for sure.
Is it just lower inventory in that market in the community?
No, just less buyers in that area. We're seeing less and less spec houses being built by the builders. The builders are more buying, are building on demand instead of building the specs, whereas 5-6 years ago there was spec houses being built.
Popped up everywhere.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so then those spec houses, were they more towards the high end or low end of to service the market?
The spec houses were mostly in the high end. There was a couple of developments that were in the 2+1 bedrooms. They went really quick. This house we're in today is like priced at $469.
Okay.
Fully finished up and down, as you can see. 3 bedrooms up, 1 down. That's kind of the market you're in right now for spec houses, $4 to $450 range.
Okay, interesting. And so within that, maybe tell me a little bit more about this home, and this is where I can throw some B-roll over, like the home itself.
Yeah, so this bedroom's home's 3 bedrooms up, ensuite bathroom, another bathroom up here, big rec room downstairs, 1 more bathroom and bedroom down there. So you're getting about 4 bedrooms in about 1,300 square feet.
1,300 square feet. Okay, and then you got the kitchen, living room, is there a basement as well?
Yeah, it's fully finished down there with a rec room, bathroom, bedroom.
And that's okay.
And you're getting a standard lot in Brandon is usually 50 to 60 wide by 100 to 120 deep.
Okay, and then these are kind of standard on those lot sizes.
Yeah.
Then. Cool. And so have you seen that change as well? The lot sizes, are they shrinking? Are they growing? Are they kind of just have stayed the same over the years?
They've stayed the same. There used to be probably back the houses that were built in the 70s. Some of them have a 100-foot lot.
Okay.
We're seeing more of what we're calling a skinny build, where they're taking a 25-foot lot, building a smaller house, like a bi-level or a bungalow, and trying to make it for the starter type homes.
Interesting. Okay, and so what's the starter home community like in Brandon?
Probably around that 200 to 250 range. You'd get about a 800 square foot bungalow.
Okay.
Maybe have a garage, maybe not have a garage in that price range. Probably not in that price range. And then the other starters would be the condo market. So we got the apartment style condos, which are, there's some of the larger ones are not, I wouldn't call them larger, but 800 to 1,000 square feet. They're running for about 180 to 200. There's some that are, in that 600 to 800 square feet, maybe in that 100 to 140 range.
Interesting.
And then there's also the higher end condos. We've got some of those that are in that 400 plus range. So an upscale condo similar to a home, but you've got the amenities of a condo living.
Fascinating. And so this is a personal question, I guess, in this end. Tiny homes. I hear that there's like tiny home pieces at like the fairs and stuff that happen in the spring here. Is there a tiny home community in Brandon? Is there any like movement towards that at all?
No.
I know that in Ontario there's kind of pushes in communities to move towards tiny homes. I just thought it was
not here yet.
Not here yet. Okay.
Usually if it starts in Ontario, it'll make its way here sometime later on.
Some point in the future it'll happen. Yeah, it's been a fascinating thing that I've been learning about. It's how and I guess it's also happening in Vancouver where like the laneway housing when there's so much impact of like there's nowhere else to really build. People have been filling in spaces. Yeah. And so I guess you guys have a lot more space here.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was calling about the skinny builds is what we're seeing is the 25-foot lots with the narrower house up and down, finished up and down. So that would be our version of the tiny homes would be on the 25-foot lots.
On the 25-foot lots. Okay, that's cool. That's interesting. So within this community, what are like market trends that you have seen over the last let's call it the last year? Like, what have you seen that's been interesting? What's been happening in the real estate market here in Brandon?
This year, I would say what's interesting is that generally our busy season, or when the most homes sell, is generally April, May, and June.
Okay.
And this year we were a little slower in that March, April, May, but then the summer was quite busy. We had a higher than normal sales in both July and August, and into September. We had that snowstorm last week, which has kind of shut down the sales. It's back. The snow's gone now, but you know, we had 2 days where the cities and the highway shut down. So that came a little earlier than normal. Usually our market slows down Remembrance Day weekend.
Okay.
But it's slowed down a bit now. We still might have some time to get some more sales.
Get some sales in before winter comes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is that cycle then like? So in winter, does the market kind of fully shut down? I know that at home, the market kind of is structured because you don't have kind of the weather that you guys get here out in the prairies. We get shut down at or comes to a slow when school starts, and then starts back up when school ends. So it's kind of like your lull, even though there are homes sold, your lull is generally during winter.
Yeah, our lull would be kind of mid-November to mid to end of February.
Okay.
And it's not to say that homes don't sell, because
Right.
they do, and it's can be a good opportunity to sell because there's not much competition out there. But the market will generally pick up kind of back April, May, and June.
And so when is a good time to buy then? Buy versus sell. So if you were to tell someone and give people kind of an understanding of when they should be putting their homes on the market in this space, or when they should be looking to buy, when can they both get the best deals?
Probably for selection, you'd get it in that spring market. For price wise, probably around right now, this time of year, because you're looking at getting, you know, people are wanting to be sold and get moved if they still can before the snow falls. So I would say if you're a buyer, the fall is a good time to look.
Okay.
Could get a little better prices maybe.
Yeah.
Like I said, our prices don't move a lot in Brandon. We've had a pretty steady price.
Interesting. And so in that kind of looking forward, if someone was thinking about putting their home on the market in the next 3 to 6 months, what would you recommend to them?
You want to get your home as show ready as you possibly can. Fix up all the little things that you've probably always wanted to fix up, and get your house ready the way you want to live in it, but now you're going to get it ready to sell. And then, you know, just declutter as much as possible. You know, somebody comes into a home like this that's staged and lots of space, you can certainly see the benefits of it. So I would say just fix your house up, you know, get a fresh coat of paint, just declutter as much as you possibly can.
Yeah, and in that, is getting a hold of contractors or painters or people to do that kind of work, is it difficult in Brandon? Or are they, like, when's the best time to kind of reach out to those people based on their cycles?
They're a lot freer with their time starting as soon as the snow comes, because they want to finish all their outside jobs, and then once that's done, they're generally looking for some winter work. You know, a lot of them will be okay, they're slowed down for the winter, so they got some time to maybe do a basement reno for somebody, or, you know, like I said, paint a house or whatever. Okay. So the winter's a much better time to find contractors to do that.
And then to prepare your home.
Yeah.
If you're going to sell towards springtime.
Get ready for the spring market. Yeah.
Could people reach out to you if they had like questions about what contractor to use, or do you have like a short list of like people that you recommend out?
Yeah, I have a list of people like plumbers, electricians, builders, mortgage brokers, you know, lawyers, home inspectors. So try to have an array of people that I know, like, and trust, and that I would recommend to friends or family or clients and put ultimate faith in them to do the best job.
Yeah. So if you're looking to sell your home in the next, you know, come springtime, and you want to know who to reach out to get some of those things you've always wanted fixed, Glen will happily help you. I'll put his information down below. You can reach out to him. If there is one, I think here's a question. So we were talking about sellers on the buy side. If you're a buyer and you're saying, hey, New Year's coming, we've always wanted to move, what should we do next 3 to 6 months?
So if you're selling?
If you're buying.
Oh, if you're buying.
Yeah.
Okay. Just get well versed with the market. Contact a realtor. Get on there. Lots of us have an auto email system, so
Okay.
you can get accustomed to what's out there, see what's out there. You know, there's lots of open houses in Brandon. You can start testing the market with open houses and seeing what types of houses you like. But ultimately, first get pre-approved at a bank or a mortgage broker. Because if you go start looking at houses and then realize you can't afford them,
Right.
and you have to go down in price, it can be a disappointing house hunting trip after that.
Oh, absolutely. So, do you find you have a lot of multiple offer scenarios in Brandon, or is it more of a traditional kind of? You've been saying the market's stable, but what does it mean?
Well, we have in Brandon about 4 months of inventory. So, you know, they generally say less than 4 months, less than 3 months is a seller's market, more than 6 months is a buyer's market. So, I would say we're in a equal buyer to seller. So, you know your price range, know what you can afford first, and then get a realtor to help you through the process.
What would be some questions that people could ask an agent as they interview for, you know, the right realtor to represent them, that you would recommend them asking?
Yeah, I think just ask your realtor how they operate, how they work, how they communicate, because and a lot of times communication is key through the process. Whether, you know, some people don't want to get emails every day, they don't want to get texts every day, and other people's want it the minute it comes out. So kind of talk to your realtor or find out how they operate, how they send information out, what the best way to communicate is, and how they want to be communicated with. Because there's lots of avenues to communicate nowadays via texts. More and more are coming out with Facebook Messenger texting or communicating through.
Oh, cool.
So it's just kind of find out how you want to communicate, how they work. You know, do certain people not encourage you to go to open houses? Do they, you know, there's lots of different things. And it's just how you get along and get somebody you know, like I said, know, like, and trust.
Cool. And so, open house wise, something I found fascinating as I've traveled from town to town is every community does their open houses at like a different time. But then there's communities like when I was in Ottawa as an example, everyone was doing them between 2 and 4. And so I had to choose, like when I was trying to meet up with agents or go to a couple open houses myself, I had literally 200 open houses on the same weekend because it was just Ottawa, right? And so 200 open houses in the same 2 to 4 time block. Right. Is there like, what's the open house time of choice here in Brandon?
Similar.
Really?
Yeah. We're some you'll see on Saturdays and Sundays. Those are the 2 days that they mostly are. Lots of people will do 1 to 3 or 2 to 4.
Okay.
In the summer, you'll see some weeknight ones, Thursday nights, 6 to 8. But generally around now, they stop with the weeknight ones because it gets dark earlier and you don't get as much traffic out. But definitely in Brandon, the busiest open house day is Sunday.
Sunday from basically
1 to 3 to 1 to 4, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. See, and I found that just fascinating as I passed through communities to be like, everyone's doing it at the same time. But I guess that means that that's when people are, it's kind of like a post-church type time and everyone's just out and looking.
Yeah, I guess after church and after lunch. And
Interesting.
And everybody's just been trained that that's when it is.
I was saying it's more, it's a cultural thing,
Yeah.
really. It's like a cultural pattern that I don't think most people think about. My next question for you is, what are the top questions that you get asked by clients that you're like, I wish I could just tell them all at once the answer to this question because they ask me so repeatedly?
I think a question we get asked a lot is, can you only show the houses that you have listed? Like
Really?
if somebody sees it online, they think they have to go to the person who has the house listed to go view it.
Okay.
Whereas I think that's my piece of advice for buyers is find a realtor you know, one that you're comfortable with, and let them show you all the houses that are out there. They give you the best representation then because they're showing you everything, not just their own, but everything that fits your, you know, you're buying, the little conditions you have or the wants and needs that you have on your list.
Right. And in Manitoba, here in Brandon, what does it cost to have a buyer's agent?
We mostly we don't charge for buyer's agents. There's You very rarely see the buyer's agency agreement signed in Manitoba yet. You know, like BC, it's mandatory. You can't sell your own listings anymore in BC.
Oh, okay.
So when you make your way across Canada and hit BC, that'll be some interesting. But mostly we just get paid by the listing side, right? The commissions are split 50-50 between the buying agent and the listing agent.
So it's really to the buyer's benefit to have an agent on their side then at that point.
That's the way I feel, yeah.
Yeah. It's nothing out of your pocket as a buyer to have Glen represent you as he, you know, helps you find the home of your choosing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, and that might be part of the confusion when people go into homes, is they're like, well, I don't want to have to pay an agent because I'm going to have to pay the agent of the home that's selling it. But if it's a split, because that's how it works back home too in California, is that you're split. It's the selling, it's a part of the listing that you get paid as a buyer's agent.
Well, and I think lots of times buyers think they're wasting our time, you know, calling us and, I don't know if we're going to like that house, so we'll just call the person on the listing. You're not wasting our time. That's what we do, and that's how we get paid, and that's how we make a living, is showing homes and going out, taking people to different homes. Not many people buy the first home they look at, right? So we know that's part of the process. You're going to show somebody 5, 10, 20, 30, homes. 40 homes.
Hopefully by that point you can kind of
not
narrow
that
down
many,
what you're looking
yeah.
at. Yeah, exactly. Cool. And so as you show people homes, what are some of the technologies that you utilize to help, you know, make that process efficient for them and help them kind of see what's out there on the market?
Well, we're lucky in Brandon because our board has the lockbox system, so making appointments is easy because you're not searching around for keys all the time. We've got the technology right on our phones to open the lockbox.
That's cool.
And it's safe for the sellers because your agent can know through the lockbox who's entered your home. So, you know, technology has brought it a long ways. That the lockbox system has always been in place since I started in 2008. So I have trouble visualizing before that when people were chasing keys around all over the place and that. So technology is definitely there. And then we have Prospects app, which so we don't have to carry a piece of paper around anymore. We have all the information on the house right on our phones.
Right. So someone drives by a house and like, I want to see that one. You're like, I have that information for you. Let's go take a look. I can set that up. That's cool. How do you connect with other realtors in your market then?
We're basically just text as all. We had an app that was provided by the boards, but most of us, we're small enough still in Brandon that we all kind of know each other, and we have all of our phones in our numbers in our phones, so we mostly just text. We don't use any of the apps for booking showings or anything like that.
That's cool. So you just you know everybody, so call
them up or text them.
Like, hey Jane, I want to come see your property. Yeah, exactly. Cool. That's awesome. And that must mean that there's like a tight community. Do you guys do like agent showings?
Yeah, we have agent open houses. 10 to 11, Monday to Friday. So they'll generally, in Brandon, there'll be 5 or 6 houses on the list that morning, so you tour around. Not every agent does it, obviously, but there's it's a good chance to get out there, see what's on the market, see what different price ranges are, have a look at it that way.
That's kind of how you keep up to date and learning of what's going on. So what other ways do you learn?
I'm a big proponent of continuing education, continuing learning. I wish I paid that much attention back when I went to school, but now I would say I take lots of courses. I'm enrolled in Richard Robbins International, I was mentioning before. Yeah. I have a business coach through there, and I like to read books, and when I read, I read autobiographies and self-help and motivational books like that. Reading books, getting coaching, kind of taking online classes, those are always, so that you keep up to date with happening in the market, and then just continue to educate yourself too then at that point, right? What's your top learning of the year so far? Top learning is just through the coaching program. They've got systems in place and planning your not only your day, your month, your year, and having a structure set up rather than each deal recreating the wheel, which I still haven't got that part all done, but that's the way I'm moving, is trying to get my business more system orientated, so it runs itself almost. And then
So then you can spend more time with your clients versus like
Right.
spending time on the structures of getting everything done.
Yeah,
That's
and getting out there, connecting with the clients. Last year was my 10th anniversary, so I had a client party out in my community of Sioux. We rented the pool for an hour, had a barbecue at the park and stuff, and that was a great way to connect with a number of people all at once, and it was a really fun event.
What does it mean to be a part of like Glen's real estate family then? So how do you engage with your clients on a consistent basis? Throwing pool parties, every once in a while, but what else does it mean to be part of your community?
I have a monthly newsletter where I provide stats on Brandon and Sioux. Get that out there to them. Trying to get better at connecting with people after the post sale, so it's not like I've sold you a house, see you later, call me again when you're ready to sell again. Trying to be more just calling them up, saying, hey, is there anything I can help with, anything you need?
Yeah, so more relationship oriented and
more relationship based, and smaller events, either taking people to smaller events or having tickets for them to go to them and stuff like that.
That's cool. So just really re-engaging that community on a consistent basis. That's cool.
A lot of my business comes from repeat and referral clients, so just trying to make sure you do a good job that first time around so that other people are talking about you and telling their friends about you, because that's the best. To me, that's the best way to do business, is repeat and referral. If somebody's already referred you, you're one step up rather than just getting an internet lead, which is, you don't know if it's a time waster or not. Hopefully it's not a time waster, but it does happen.
Yeah, well, and I think too, what you're doing is it's taking it from, you're not just a transaction at like a till, right? It's like, here's your milk, here's your eggs. It's like, no, you're part, it's a relationship. When it comes to your home, you want to be that relationship person.
Yeah.
Around the plumbing and the electricians and the, everything related to them. Cool. So reach out to Glen if you have any questions about your home, and he's building that system to kind of keep you supported, which I think is really cool.
Right.
Yeah. Where do you see the market headed in Brandon in the next couple of years?
Tough question to read the crystal, or to have a crystal ball would be nice, but I think it'll continue to be the same steady marketplace that we've had in Brandon. Steady growth, in that, again, 250 to 350, it's been that 1 to 2 to 3% growth. The higher end, the 400 to 500, it's taken a bit of a little bit down, but I think that'll hopefully come back, and like I say, there's less spec houses being built, so maybe as the people have less choice, they'll have to start buying the spec houses, and hopefully the builders can get back to building some spec houses, having some inventory there available for new buyers.
Cool. So as you see the next couple years unfolding, what would you do this again? As you see the next couple of years unfolding, what are things that people can watch for in the market that kind of give them an idea of hey, maybe I should be looking to list my property?
Well, I think we'll see with the election happening today. Obviously, we'll see what's going to happen there. The Liberals they put out a new home buyer program here in November 1st. I'm not sure it's going to stimulate the economy. We have the stress test in Canada. I don't know if you've talked about that with any of the other
You feel free to
agents.
add it in here,
So the stress test it's brought the market actually down a little bit, because people have to be approved for 2% higher than what the actual interest rate is at the time, so it can drop somebody's buying power by 15 to 20%. Maybe if they would have been able to get a $300,000 house with the stress test, they can maybe only get a 260 or something like that. So the stress test is definitely, I'd say it's slowed the market, and it's hurt the upper end market, I would say.
Interesting. But has it provided opportunity for people at all, or is it just more now it's a stabilizing force in the marketplace?
Yeah, I think it was brought in for more of the bigger cities, the Torontos and the Vancouver, where the prices were spiking big time, and they put it in carte blanche over the entire nation, and we didn't really need it to be stopped. So we've seen more. It's probably hurt more than it's helped for sure.
Interesting. Well, and that's a fascinating little piece there too, right? So the fact that what might be great for larger urban centers, and do you think is it hurting kind of more the rural communities in Manitoba, or is it just kind of everyone?
I think Winnipeg probably feels the same effects as we feel. We're, our market here in Brandon is driven a bit by the CFB Shiloh, the military base outside of Shiloh, or outside of Brandon. It's 20 minutes to the east there, and they transfer a lot of people. So we see the market stimulated by that. We're, as I was mentioning to you offline, it is called the Wheat City here in Brandon.
Yeah, I think that's fun. There's like the Wheat King is like on different buildings and stuff inside the city.
So we are a farming economy. If the farmers are doing well, the city of Brandon ultimately does well. And the Wheat Kings, that's our junior hockey team, and then a lot of the Brandon minor hockey teams are also called the Wheat Kings. So
nice,
good spin off the farming economy.
The farming economy. And this is a little bit, I guess, off script, but with like weather that we had last week, does that affect the city of Brandon as a whole? If there's like early, I know when I was down in South Dakota, there was a ton of crops that were unharvested.
Yeah.
And so it's going to affect their economy a ton because like corn, everything else kind of froze and can't be harvested now.
I think a lot of our farmers are still hoping to get in the field, but the fields are wet. There's a lot of unharvested crop out there.
Is there? Okay.
And the city of Brandon will definitely feel that because, like I say, we're a farming economy all around. And if the farmers don't have money to spend, businesses in Brandon don't have money to spend,
so
employees don't have money to spend.
Yeah. Interesting. Cool. So I think I have two questions left for you.
Okay.
The first is, what is your vision for your career in real estate?
I would say my vision is that I want to be a source of information for my clients or future clients or their kids who are looking to get into a house, and just make sure I stay up on what's happening in the marketplace, in the industry, financing side of it, all that, and stay well connected with other agents, not only in the city but across the nation. And if people are moving, then have somebody, they can come to me and say, hey, do you know an agent in Kelowna, or do you know an agent in Toronto or whatever, and have a database of people there that I can provide information and trusted sources for people to go, because it's a big step when you're going to buy a house and you want to use somebody you can trust.
Absolutely, and having that network and being like, yes, I have people that I trust.
Yeah.
So I would trust to sell my house there. Here's someone for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool, that's awesome. And so I guess that brings me to my last question, which is, what have I not asked you that you were really hoping that I would ask? What would you like to,
I don't know, you nailed me with quite a few questions, so I'm not sure if you missed any or not.
Let me ask it in a different way then. What is something that you would love, like a client audience to know, or maybe an agent audience to know, that you just, it's something that, keeps you up at night?
I don't have too much to keep me up at night, but
it's a good thing.
I think probably I would say just to get an agent that specializes in what you're looking for. If you're looking for lake properties, get someone who specializes in that area. If you're looking for commercial business, it might not be your residential realtor who can do it, but they might be able to refer you to a commercial specialist.
Okay.
Stay in your area of expertise. I would say that's the biggest thing for people to know, that even though I might not be able to help you, I know someone who can help you.
Absolutely. And so if you were to name your area of expertise for people, so they're like, oh my gosh, this is Glenn, this is when I reach out to him.
I would say my area of expertise would be residential real estate in Brandon, in Souris, because that's the community I live in. And then Pelican Lake is where we have a family cottage, so I know the lake very well. And so those would be the three areas where I would say I specialize my business in.
Right. So if you are in Brandon, Souris, or Pelican Lake, Glenn's your guy. And if not, he's probably got a guy for you, or a gal for you in that area. Cool. Well, Glenn, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
being asked to do this.
Absolutely. This is fun, and I'm glad I got to learn a little bit about Brandon and kind of see the town that otherwise I wouldn't have had a reason to come through here. So
Yeah, that's going to be an adventurous tour for you if you don't beat the snow here down to BC.
frickin' hope. I'm gonna do that. All right. See you, everyone. This is Real Estate en Route and Tim Souza, and I will see you next in Regina. Cheers, everyone.